All right, welcome to the Ringer Gambling Show Monday edition. Look at who's here, Cousin Sal. Yeah, that's me, Anthony Dabbundo, Tony Tokens, and Tate Frazier. Master Tate, it comes down to an end tonight. How are you feeling? How are you feeling in general? I know you were battling the flu on one of your favorite weeks of the year.
Yeah, a little crummy still, but getting a little bit better. And like you said, I feel like Dabbundo a couple weeks ago, where he was like, "This is a really down Monday for me." That's how I feel right now. I can't believe college basketball is going to wrap up tonight, but I'm excited. We got a great matchup of coaches, two teams that have some storied history in the championship game, and Dan Hurley versus Dusty May. You couldn't ask for more, Sal.
Dabbundo, yeah, you said I think 2 Mondays ago was the worst sports day of the year. This shaping up to be hopefully a good one. Hopefully, please have a good game tonight, right?
I'm preferring not a good game, actually. We'll get into that. I would prefer if it weren't, but we'll
get to
say
our picks. Yeah.
I wanted to congratulate the Pearl family on a well-deserved NIT title last night. Shout out to
Yeah,
Auburn.
champion.
They proved correct. They were the best not in tournament team. Ken Pom said so. Bruce Pearl said so. And they vindicated that with their overtime victory against vaunted Tulsa in Hinkle last night. So shout out to the Tigers.
If you go player for player, Tate, do you think, and there's some truth serum involved, you say, hey, you're out in Dayton, one of those first two games, or you win the NIT. What are they saying?
I think most people take Dayton, to be honest, which is kind of sad. Okay. It's a sad state of affairs for the NIT. Even after the game when they won the NIT, one of the reporters, I can't remember who it was like, NIT champions, like, what is your thought? And the guy's like, sits there for like, a pregnant pause, and he's like, I guess.
It's sad.
I guess we're okay.
I think it's cool that they're playing it the same weekend in the same venue now. Like, I think that's actually a good thing. Not the same venue, but the same city. And it won't always be possible, but if it is possible, they should just do it to try to keep it close, even though it does feel a little JV-ish.
We accidentally spent 2 extra minutes on this JV tournament discussing at the top of the hour, which is very sad. This is my fault. But listen, we do have that title game tonight. We got basketball in the NBA still going. Well, we got like 8 days left before the play-in. Major League Baseball plays of the day. This is shaping up as one of the great sports weeks because you got the national championship leading into the Masters. But let's start with college hoops.
The Ringer Gambling Show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA postseason is here, and FanDuel knows the only thing better than watching your favorite team win is winning along with them. FanDuel is the best place to bet the teams, players, and plays during their playoff run. Build a same-game parlay or try live betting and jump in after tip-off. And don't forget, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app now and play your game. Must be 21 or older in select states, 18 and older in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, call 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Tate, we have Michigan, 7.5-point favorite, 144.5 is the total against UConn. I'm hoping it's a good one. We're going to take you through our picks in a second. Tate, I love this tournament, as I know you do. And no matter how much NIL and an expanded bracket tries to ruin it, I will defend it to the end. That said, there were about 4 actual minutes of interest during this weekend's games.
Yeah, it was a tough Saturday, and it did feel like, we were hoping for a little bit more. I do feel like Michigan-Arizona really let us down. That was the game where it got billed as this incredible matchup, but when you really look at it, and we talked about this a little bit, but the front court matchup for Michigan was just too much for Arizona. Arizona does exactly what Michigan wants them to do. They just pack the paint, and Arizona continued to drive into just a wall of defense there from Mara and Morez Johnson and the rest of the guys in the front court for Michigan. So an unfortunate game. I like Tommy Lloyd's response when he won the Naismith's Coach of the Year yesterday. He's like, yeah, I should probably send this to Dusty May's house because he completely outcoached me there on the big stage. But I'm hoping that Monday delivers because, UConn was a little shocking. Just because everybody was on Illinois, so at least there was something there. But yeah, both those games, it just felt like UConn threw the first blow, Michigan threw the first blow, and both the other teams were reeling the rest of the way.
Yeah, Dabbundo, let's stick with Michigan, Arizona, 91-73. So, like Tate said, I think this one was more insulting because it was highly anticipated, at least by me. Mara with 26. Lendeborg played 14 minutes, rolled his ankle, and it never mattered. The Wildcat guards just got destroyed. As like Tate was saying, they're like, hey, we're not going to make our hay with the three-pointer. Let's see if you're really the rim protectors you turn out. And yes, they were. The first half stat, I think they had 2 assists, Arizona, and 9 turnovers. Those guards just got slaughtered.
Yeah, it was the deer in the headlights players. If they had like an all deer in the headlights, Braden Berries, Jaden Bradley, and I'll go Mirkovich from Illinois. Like those 3 guys look like they wanted to be anywhere else except Indianapolis on Saturday night. But I will say, so I have a question for you as a gambler. If you ever get the first game wrong, like you have a doubleheader, I was on Illinois, had a future, which sadly rest in peace, and you're so wrong, and then the second game is about to start, do you ever add more? To your opinion, like there's no way I could be super wrong about both games.
Do I
right?
ever add more? What are you kidding? I've been doing this for 68 years. You don't think Yes, I add more, and
so
now
I did
I'm
that
0-2.
with Michigan. I was getting annoyed. Arizona money was just hammering the market. I said, "F it, I'm taking more on Michigan." And
of course. And then do we add even more now on tonight's game that we were 0-2? I'm sure we will. Oh man,
that's right. You had Arizona.
Yeah. I was 0-2. All right, so let's jump back there for that first game. Illinois UConn was 71-62. Yeah, I mean UConn jumped out to the lead. Really never came too close for too long. Relinquished. I guess they got within 4 with 5 minutes left. But Terrace Reed had 17-11. Mullins made a couple big shots. I think he ended with 15. Really, both teams shot poorly, though, Tate. 134%, 135%, but UConn made 12 threes to Illinois 6, and now Dan Hurley finds himself in his third national title game in 4 years.
Yeah, I do think the experience of the coaches mattered in this game in particular, and you could kind of tell if you just watch Brad Underwood and you watch Dan Hurley, like Brad Underwood's head was turned towards the bench for most of the game, like looking back, trying to get like insights and like little details from his staff. And Dan Hurley is meanwhile just a maestro on the court doing all that he's doing, right? He's like working the officials, calling out certain sets, slowing the game down, and you can just sort of see the difference in, someone that's been there before and someone that is trying to kind of find their footing and maybe a little bit, because I think if you've never been to the Final Four, there's so much going on and so many distractions just in the arena that like it's kind of sleight of hand. Like your eyes can go and dart all over the place. And like Dan Hurley was just completely locked into this game. It does give them an advantage because they've been there before. He and Dusty, I think both had that in their back pocket. And UConn, I mean, Illinois got up 22-21. I was like, okay, here comes Illinois. The Illinois that we've seen all year. They're finally getting it back together. And boom, UConn hits you with a 10-0 run again. They just never really went away in this game. And I think that's a lot to do with Dan Hurley.
So also a lot to do with Dan Hurley, I think, Dabbundo, is this line of 7.5, because I was like staring at it through both blowouts, basically. I was like, wow, look at this. Michigan is still like minus 250. When they had that Arizona game in hand, they were minus 250. I'm like, well, so this line's going to be about 6. It ballooned to 7.5. How much of that is due solely and exclusively to Dan Hurley?
Well, I mean, nobody wants to bet against this guy anymore. I don't think. I'm going to do it. But I think you have to try to figure out what is it about what Dan Hurley is doing or what UConn is that makes them such a tough prep, such a tough guard, such a tough team to cover the spread or beat in an NCAA tournament setting. And I will say, I thought the difference, which is something we highlighted a little bit on Friday, was a concern for Illinois, was that the forwards definitely got stretched. Like Mirkovic really struggled to keep up with Mullins, keep up with Karaban. Does that matter for this matchup where Michigan is way more athletic, even with Lindeborg playing on 1.5 legs and Johnson out there? Like they're just way more able to get out on the shooters, I think. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference. UConn got a lot of good looks. So did Illinois. UConn will not get as many good open threes, I think, in the second game. But it is a tough turnaround. It's a tough prep. On 2 days, they run so many actions, so many sets. They run all these, complex ball screen stuff. Michigan's defense, though, elite this year per synergy guarding off-ball screens.
Yeah, and, I guess my big point is this should be a double-digit spread, if not for Hurley. Hurley himself, Tate. All 5 wins in the tournament were by double digits for Michigan. But, well, you're going against Dabbundo and I. You are taking the UConn money line, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I just look, I think Michigan's a much better team, and I think Michigan should win the national championship. But I do think we've given Dan Hurley and UConn a little bit of a superpower here by being the underdog. And he loves to be the underdog. I think you give him a big chip on his shoulder, he's able to sell that to his group. And the problem with UConn, and the problem for anybody playing UConn, is that they just continue to execute, and they just do it over and over again. It's nauseating at times, as Dabbundo mentioned, right? Rejecting screens, fading out when you expect them to curl down a screen, curling when you expect them to fade out. Like everything, you're just kind of on your heels, and you're a little bit off balance. And I think that is all by design with what Dan Hurley is able to do with this team. And Dimmery's going to be a tough defensive matchup for Cadeau. I think he's going to give him some problems on the perimeter. So I think that's another reason why I'm a little bit worried, because he orchestrates everything for Michigan. if they get Cadeau a little bit off his mark and is not able to kind of dictate and get downhill as he did against Arizona, I think that hurts what Michigan's doing on the offensive end. And then with UConn, I mean, just with Mullins and Caravan and even like a guy like Jalen Stewart coming off the bench and being able to hit some big shots for them as well. I just think that they have an arsenal of guys. And I think the two injuries are what really are kind of getting in my head with this game, right? Yaxel Lindeborg is such a Swiss Army knife defensively. If he's not 100%, that worries me. Solo Ball's in a boot right now. So that's also an interesting fact. And I know just from what I've talked with the UConn coaches a little bit, they've watched that Purdue tape a lot. And there is room kind of in that middle ground, right? That elbow space where they can get some of those twos. Like the push shot is particularly is the one that Trey Kaufman-Ring kind of killed Michigan with, right? Not getting all the way to the rim, but being able to kind of get in that middle space and dominate. Solo Ball can get there. Dibbery can get there, and I just feel like UConn is going to be so prepared in this game that I do think Michigan's a much better team, but there is value in just believing in UConn figuring this out. And if you look at the history of these two programs in the title game, UConn undefeated in the national championship game, 6-0, and then Michigan's, they like to kind of be the runner-up. That's what they do in the title game. So going a little bit on history here, I don't feel great about it, but for whatever reason, I'm just going to take a big swing and take UConn money line plus 255.
Is calling Yaxel a Swiss Army knife, is that racist? I have to look into that. I'm not sure.
I don't think he's Swiss. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not Swiss. Army knife, I think part is okay.
He could be. It kind of sounds like a Swiss name a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Lindeborg.
Not enough.
Lindeborg. There you go.
I don't know. All right. Dabbundo, you and I are going against Tate. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Michigan right now proved on Saturday night that they are a juggernaut, that I felt they were the best team coming in. I picked them to win it all. I've seen nothing in this tournament to suggest I should be doubting that choice. But I will say the pace clash is significant in this game, right? Like Arizona was looking to get into a track meet with Michigan. They lost that track meet. UConn cannot do that. They will get run off the court if this game becomes a transition battle. So the slower this game is, the more that favors, I think, UConn, or at least favors their chances of keeping it tight. The faster they play here, even with Lindeborg hurt, I think Michigan runs them in transition and destroys them, with their size at the rim consistently. So I will say that's one thing to watch. The other thing I'll say, you're right, Tate. I will say Arizona was a little bit naive, right? Like they kind of fell into the trap. I don't think UConn's going to do that. I think UConn will get remarkably little at the rim. It's all going to be mid-range and jump shooting. So like maybe Caravan gets hot. Maybe Mullins keeps making all of his threes since that one he made against Duke.
Right.
But that's a really hard needle to thread against a team with this much length. I think you're going to get a lot of long rebounds and runouts. I think Michigan has like a 12-0 run at some point early in the second half and wins this game by 12 to 15 points.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Dabbundo. I mean, this team is, I think we're looking at a super special team, and not because they scored like the first team that scored 90 plus in 5 straight games in the tournament. All 5 obviously by double-digit wins. They also played one other Big East team this year, Villanova. They beat them by 38. Nova beat UConn twice. I'm just looking for some similar matchups. The last 3 games in the tournament, they beat 4-seed Bama, 6-seed Tennessee, and 1-seed Arizona by 73. You got Mara coming off a giant game. They really, UConn, we didn't mention Morez. I don't know if they have an answer for him.
No.
And they're going to have to shoot stadium lights out from behind
42%, 43%.
Yeah,
minimum.
exactly.
I think so, which is what Michigan
And Michigan's been
averages.
shooting well.
Yeah.
Michigan lost to Duke, right? That was their big loss. I think that everybody was like, okay. And then they got run by Purdue's elite offense. But Michigan shot like 20% from 3 against Duke and lost by a couple scores. Like it was
right.
I mean, that was their bad loss. I mean, come on.
Look, it's basketball, whether it's college or pro. The 3-point shot variance is a path to victory for anyone. But I think it's going to have to be that. And there hasn't been a 7+ point underdog to win this thing in 20, 25 years. So I don't see it. I'm going 81-68, Dusty May's team cutting down the Nets. So Tate,
Mara's very Klingon-esque, Tate, isn't he?
Yeah, it does feel like Mara versus Terrace Reed is a little bit of a battle. And if they get Reed in foul trouble and Ryba has to come off the bench and kind of play against Mara, then you're really you're kind of in a tough
Drawing
spot
dead.
there. So there's a lot of different ways that Michigan can win this game. And I think there's really like 1 or 2 ways where UConn can win, which is why I'm with you guys. I think Michigan should win this game. I just, for whatever reason, I just UConn, I can't quit at this point. So
at that price, I mean, look, you can't blame somebody for taking UConn money line when the guys lost 1 tournament game in 4 years.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't blame someone, but you can question their sanity if their prop is first half margin Michigan by 6 to 10 plus 370, and then UConn winning the game. Take us through this, Tate. You are threading some kind of needle here.
Yeah, so I think that Michigan gets out big. I think Michigan throws the first punch in this game. I think UConn's able to get it down to like I said, 6 to 10 points. Kind of feels like maybe 10 points is the number at halftime, plus 370. I do think that UConn got another superpower by coming back against Duke, and I think that Dan Hurley almost loves the fact that his team has that in their back pocket as a confidence boost. And I think Michigan's going to be up. It's going to feel a little bit ho-hum, like, okay, Michigan's going to keep doing what they're doing. We're going to get to the under 4. UConn's going to be able to get them a little bit nervous and execute in the half court down the stretch. And that's sort of the storyline that I'm saying in this game. I think Michigan's going to be up. I think it's going to seem like it's totally in control. And then Dan Hurley at the end of this game is going to somehow find a way for UConn to yet again shock the world. So I'll take Michigan by 6 to 10 points, plus 370 in the first half, and then UConn money line plus 255.
It's pretty good. I like the first half of that for sure. All right, Dabbundo, player prop
first
here.
half.
Yes, I mean, something like this is going to, will bode well in our overall prediction.
There was a sneaky bad beat. I don't know if you saw this, Sal, but so Terrace Reed's prop was 16.5 for the Open for the national semifinal. He had 15 points, and with about 10 to 15 seconds left, for some reason he was on the floor. Right. 58% free throw shooter, gets all the way down the court to get the ball. They inbound it right to him, and then he gets fouled and makes both to go over his point total. Brutal beat if you had the Terrace Reed under. I think this is an even tougher matchup for Reed as much as the last one was. Reed only made one basket in the second half once Illinois made some adjustments, and he's going to be facing an even better front court, an even better rim denial defense in Michigan in this game. And I do think UConn's going to tailor their offense away from Reed a bit. He's going to have to eat on the glass. Maybe he gets a couple putbacks, but I don't think they can just run post-ups like they were in the first half against Illinois. I don't think it's going to work. So I'm going to go Terrace Reed under 14.5 points, minus 105.
All right. I am going pro Michigan here. Elliot Cadeau, 3+ 3s at plus 200. I agree. Tate might have a little bit more of a matchup problem defensively coming in, but he overcame a nut allergy the other day, Tate. I mean, you think you overcoming a flu, giving you on a Southwest flight from Vegas to LAX is something. Look what he did. But he had a funny stat line, actually. 13 points, 10 assists, 6 turnovers, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals on 5 for 17. None of it mattered because they blew out Arizona. But he has made 3 threes in 3 of the last 4 games, at least 3. I think he's just trusted even behind the arc and in general. He had 17 shots, like I said, Saturday. So plus 200's nice. These games get out of hand. Lots of open looks. Illinois had 26 three-point attempts. A bunch could have gone down. Cadeau has these stadium lights figured out. So I go 3+ 3s at plus 200. Tate, anything else to say about this game that we should be looking at?
I like the Cadeau line there just because I do feel like he's going to have a little bit of trouble getting downhill in this game. And I think he's going to have to hit some threes to be able to get that kind of, balance back on his side where he can get past these guys because they have to worry about the cover on the threes. So he's going to end up taking more than 3 threes in this game, probably 5 to 6, I would guess. So that makes sense to me. And then also, I mean, we have to give Cadeau credit. I mean, a lot of those misses that he had, a lot of people talking about his field goal percentage. He did the Braden Smith model where you just throw it up at the rim and then let Morez Johnson or Adai Mara get the rebound and put it back in. So those are probably 4 or more assists that he had that didn't count just because he's just throwing it off the backboard. So he could get some of that as well. So I like that. I honestly, as we talk about it, I'm with you guys on Michigan. I just, for whatever reason, there's something in my gut about UConn.
No, I hear you.
I can't get away from it.
Well, the man talks to himself. He's crazy. He's headbutting refs.
He's got all this superstition. He's got the dragon underwear. He's got the holy beads. He's headbutting people now as a joke. It's a wild time that we live in.
I will say, for all the credit we give Dan Hurley for his stellar tournament record, Dusty May should probably be in that conversation too.
These are the 2 best coaches, I think. Yeah.
Made the Final Four with FAU. Next year, they struggled, but then gets to the Sweet 16 his first year at Michigan. Loses a competitive game to a really good Auburn. And then this year, of course, they've been an absolute juggernaut. So, May and that little, wrinkle that you mentioned, Tate, which I know got a lot of play on College Hoops film Twitter. People hyping up, Cadeau lobbing balls, little alley-oops off the backboard, bank shots. Very ingenuitive.
Yeah, Braden Smith, Zach Edey. I mean, they took it right out of the Big Ten playbook there.
You know what I was thinking, though? I love Dustin May and everything, but how great if Juwan Howard were still on here. And in this day and age of coaches just fighting each other.
He was on the
Juwan
All-Cast.
Yeah, the Fab Five cast.
Yeah, they made it there. But if he's nose-to-nose with Dan Hurley at halftime, like we saw with Gino and Dawn, which was, by the way, the best college basketball moment right there of the whole 4 weeks, I mean, whenever a female head coach says she will beat a 72-year-old man's ass, and he would have deserved it, that's you can't top that, Dabbundo.
Yeah, I mean, look, I will say Gino throwing a fit about the whistle they got, and then the next night UConn getting what I thought was a very friendly whistle. My conspiratorial hat was on.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Just a little bit.
You think he did that for them? Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to throw a bone
for the larger brand.
The following the next night. I don't know. Are they a larger brand? It's debatable.
Tate, we're rooting for Dawn Staley if this actually happens. I mean, Gino apologized. He should have. He was ridiculous. He didn't call her out by name, which people had a problem with. But why? She didn't shake hands with him in the pregame ceremonies, and what, he blows by her. He was an absolute nutcase in the halftime interview, right?
Yeah, I think he was grasping for straws there to kind of give a reason as to why he was so upset. But we kind of know why he was so upset. He was a little bit of a sore loser, which is, understandable. You're on the Final Four. You're undefeated. You felt like you got a tough whistle in that game, and South Carolina was getting away with some physicality that he didn't think that he had seen throughout the tournament. And he and Dawn Staley, obviously, I think he's got a 10-6 record against Staley. But since 2022 in the title game, it does feel like it's all been Dawn's way. I know that like it was last year, everyone was bringing up when they had their moment, and REM was like making sure that she hugs him and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, this is the difference between when he's winning versus when things aren't going his way. I'm a big Dawn Staley fan. I think she's a character in her own right, but I thought she handled it pretty well. I don't think she expected people to pick up her saying she'll beat Gino's ass, which I think was a little bit, she didn't know she had a mic around her, but it was a good moment. And then I thought she handled it really well when she lost to UCLA and Coach Corey, which I really like this UCLA team. Gabriela Jaquez is a really, really good player, fun to watch. Betts was great as well. So, I mean, all in all, it's kind of funny that Gino and Dawn both don't come back with a national championship game, but they end up being the biggest storyline as, they are prone to be in the sport. So that's where
I got to say, you guys are missing one very key element about these two people.
Go ahead.
And maybe why they're such assertive, we'll say, people. They're both Philadelphians.
Oh, there you go. That's right.
Yeah, Dawn Staley, born and raised. Gino raised, went to Westchester. So they have Philadelphia blood in them. And look, we don't mess around. You come at our people, you come at us.
Losers. Yeah,
we may be a little bit of a sore loser, but you know what? We are passionate people, especially about our sports, and we are going to not take anything lying down. So shout out to Gino and Dawn for bringing the passion that is required
little neighborhood
to do the jobs
there.
they do. Yeah, I'm sure.
I think Gino would have been lying down if he had one more comment in him. He would have been taking everything lying down for sure. But yeah, you're right, Tate. So 38-0 didn't prepare UConn for what South Carolina had to deliver. And that win over UConn didn't prepare South Carolina for UCLA, 79-51. I was at an Easter family party, just kept checking scores, and my South Carolina money line bet, which never, ever had a chance. Disgusting.
So you had UConn Friday night, and then you had South Carolina Sunday?
Yes. I'm like 0 for 70 in the 4 games. I don't know what happened,
You got to get locked in on those NBA futures.
Well, the good news is it's going to be a lot easier going forward because apparently these new brackets will feature 76 teams. Once the men's and women's postseason tournaments have completed, the NCAA is expected to finalize the expansion of both tournaments to include 76. So this is, Tate, 8 more teams, I guess. My question is, do we need more games in Dayton? Who is asking for this? That's my first question. Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to me. Like, they crowdsource this stuff and they put it out and they leak it, and every time they get the same reaction, which is like, please, no, don't do this. And they supposedly take in that information and say, okay, well, we've evaluated what the people are saying, and we've come to terms with the fact that, yes, we are going to expand the tournament. And everyone's like, wait, what? We all said we didn't want to expand the tournament other than Seth Davis. And now you come back and say you're still going to do it. The money always talks. They always follow the money. And they realize with all these different conferences, the power conferences that have all kind of, formed these these major, huge super conferences, that they need more teams in. That's why they've gotten to this point. So it's not for the little guys. It's for the Oklahomas of the world. It's for the Auburns of the world, the teams that did not make the tournament. And that's why we're going to get to 76 teams.
That's exactly right, Dabbundo.
So what's the format now? So they're doing what?
I think it's going to be an early 8.
An early 8?
So how early? So they keep the conference tournaments?
I think it starts in December with the early 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but really though, what is
my theory on this is you could make this good.
Yeah.
You make this good if you do like an early 8, but it's just a marathon day on like the Tuesday before the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like a first day of the tournament. Yeah.
What are you talking about? So how out of those 8, 4 have to? How many advance in the early 8?
4.
So that's a marathon. Okay. All right. And then
they enter into the main field. But
we got to add 8. We got to add 8 to the 68. So there's you got the 2 play-ins already. So now you're doing an early 8.
It's 12 teams in turn, right? So maybe it's an early 8 on the Tuesday, then on Wednesday it's the next. Like they ended up playing each other again, and then I don't know.
This just kills the brackets.
But you can do you can figure out a way where all I need is like 11 a.m. Tuesday basketball.
Yeah.
If I get 11 a.m. Tuesday basketball out of it, like because those 3 days are tough, man. Like you're sitting around waiting for the bracket. You're looking at your bracket. You're like, man, I can't wait for Thursday. Now because Cinderellas are dead, Thursday and Friday doesn't have the same level of juice that it used to have, I think. But if you're going to give me like a full marathon, like first game's 11 a.m. tip off in Dayton on Tuesday, and there's going to be 5 games in Dayton and 5 games somewhere else. And then Wednesday, we're going to have the second round of the play-in. And then now Thursday, we still have our normal. Then you can maybe sell me on it. But it really violates the number one principle, which is scarcity is valuable.
Sure.
And they're just giving up on it.
The other thing is this is special, I think, because of the bracket. Now, I'm still one of those old head paper bracket guys. And Tate, you're expected to fill out a bracket 8 minutes after the thing comes out, right? So, okay, how hard was it to have,
tweet your bracket. I'm like, wait a second.
to have Texas going as far as they did without knowing the result of their playing game. Now you're going to have that times 4. It's just, but you're right, Dabbundo, this is what it's about. Tate's right. It's money. It's about it's about $4. That's exactly what it's about.
That's all Sal has left after his weekend.
That's it. Yeah.
Betting on UConn, South Carolina, Arizona.
This is gas down the street to pay off the bad people. All right. So no, but the bigger point is like you could make it as far as fake outrage goes. We could have been outraged about Miami of Ohio not getting in, right? I wouldn't feel that way about 15 and 18 Providence getting ousted from the field of 76 or whatever. Like ousted,
Seton
not
Hall,
even being
Auburn,
included.
Hey, what are our friends going to? Are they going to rebrand? Our friends at Field of 68, they're cooked.
Yeah, that's why the name was never good anyway.
Yeah, never look. Learn this lesson. If you're a conference, do not make it geographical. Do not make it numerical. If you are a company involving sports media, do not make it geographical or numerical, because the way realignment is these days, nothing will matter.
Okay, so you're saying Tate should rethink race to 69 because they might just do away with the 69 point altogether?
I mean, imagine if they had the Elam ending could kill it.
Yeah,
We're like one basketball iteration away from that being dead.
Right.
Yeah, Auburn won the race to 69, the 69th best team in the country. Congratulations.
Look at that. See, it all works out, Tate. It's all working out for you. Tate, you're going to join us on Mondays, right?
Right.
You're going to be on Tailgate. We're going to hear from you for the NBA draft. It's coming up, so you're going to hear from you. I don't know, weekly about that. You tell us who to bet on that. There should be money to be made in the NBA draft at this point.
Yeah, I think so. I think the specific spots, just once we know the lottery and the teams that are in it, I think it's funny because like certain teams have certain guys. I've seen a couple boards of different teams, and they have it's a wide range at the top. You know what I mean? Like there's certain teams that have AJ at 1. There's certain teams that have Darren at 1. There's certain teams that have Boozer at 1. So I just think depending on who gets the number 1 pick will dictate kind of how it all kind of falls. And you've even seen Darren Peterson drop down to number 5 now on some of these draft
Crazy.
boards. So it's funny to see the fluctuation between all these guys. Excited.
Is it a race to 69 to see how far Darren Peterson drops? Could he be the
maybe
6?
so, yeah.
Are there 6? That puts him right at the tail end of the second
I think
round.
60, right? 60 picks, and then like there's
60,
like 20 picks in the second round that don't matter now because they've already been predetermined. So what a fun draft.
All right, Tate. This has been great. Enjoy tonight.
Yep.
We'll see you next week. Coming up, Raheem Palmer. We got NBA. We're going to have his college pick too. We got baseball, NBA, all coming up. Ringer Gambling Show when we return. The Ringer Gambling Show is presented by FanDuel. The most prestigious tournament in golf is returning to Augusta. What? Why? You never know how it's going to go down, but FanDuel has your back with a special mulligan bet back token during the event. Save it until the tournament starts so you can turn any losing bet into a bonus bet. Now you've got protection to take that sleeper pick or make a bold prediction like Morikawa to finish top 10. I may already use my mulligan on that, but hey, anything can happen. Everyone deserves a second chance at glory. That's FanDuel.com/gamblers to claim your special mulligan bet back token for Augusta. You have to be 21 or older in select states or 18 or older in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, opt-in is required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Springer Gambling Show. It's Sal. It's Anthony Dabbundo, a.k.a. Tony Tokens. We just said goodbye to Tate Frazier. Let's bring in Raheem Palmer. He's our guy to talk NBA and MLB. But up first, Raheem, give us your pick for this college basketball finale. You didn't get hurt too bad this weekend, did you?
Hurt? You saw the tickets I sent you. I didn't even send you the other one where I took Michigan second half money line plus 310. So, I mean, you saw the tickets I sent you. So I don't even watch college basketball that much. You know, for me, it's like, you know, you heard LeBron talking about going to Memphis. That's how I felt watching Illinois versus Connecticut, because at one point in time, Illinois actually had more free throws made than field goals. But
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, for this game, I'm gonna take UConn, and the reason why I'm taking it with the plus 7.5. There were 6.5s in the market, but the biggest question I have, and you know, this is a question for you guys that maybe you can answer, is that if Michigan didn't blow out Arizona, what would this number be? Because sometimes I tend to think that there's an overreaction. This was a game with a lot of hype. Everybody was hyped up. Michigan versus Arizona, saying that this was the real championship game, and after Michigan blows out Arizona, they shoot 44% from three. Is there a bit of an overreaction here? Maybe this number should be 4 or 5. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you could argue it's an overreaction to one game, but I'd also argue it's an underreaction to 39 games in the same way. Like Michigan might be on the 2019 LSU time, the 2024 UConn time, where like the market is still just catching up to just how dominant they are. And UConn, you know, covered every game of the tournament 2 years ago. The look ahead that FanDuel had up before tip was 6.5. So it's maybe an extra point bonus, but also UConn had a pretty convincing win as a dog. So they got a bump too.
I guess the question I have for you guys is, because we talk about this in college football, that every year there seems to be a team that's so dominant that they can't properly price them. So with that said, is it possible that there's the same trend in college basketball, and should we be playing alternate? Should we be playing, you know, Michigan minus 13, minus 15, minus 16, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I might have something to say about that with my best bet. I think you're right, but I think, yes, Tate pointed out, well, everyone's used to the Big Ten team or Michigan coming in second and the UConn running it up, and maybe that's why it's as close as 7.5. It's funny, I was thinking it the other way, Raheem. Like, why would this be only 7.5 if Michigan has beaten everybody, you know, scored 90+ in 5 straight games? I think you take Hurley out of the equation, and this is a 10.5 point. Even with UConn getting this far, this could be a 10.5 point spread. So I do agree though. Let's bet the bonus, the post there, UConn money line, and maybe Michigan plus 11+. I think that's the way to do it. I think you got it right. Let's.
I'm going to come in second in a couple bracket pools, some of which pay out, some of which don't if Michigan wins. Where do you guys stand on this? Because I'm curious. Because one group I texted and I said, "Oh, does second place get a prize?" And somebody said, "Yes, a round of applause." Should a bracket pool pay out one winner or multiple winners?
I think it should be 3. I'm always big on like the poker structure. Or like not even the poker structure. If it's the, you know, you guys playing the football contest, you got a first place winner. I think first place winner should get like 70%. Then maybe the second place winner gets something. And then the third place winner just gets their money back. They min cash.
70-20-10, I think is good. That's how I like it. I'd like top 3 also, but it also depends on the pool. Dabbundo, what is this? Is it like 20 friends putting $20 in? Then maybe just the winner take all.
Yeah, the one's 110 people. They're paying out third. And second. One is like 70 people. They're paying out second and third. Then there's one that's 35 people. They are not. So that's the one I'm in second. I'm like, well, maybe we should pay out second.
Well, maybe we'll start a GoFundMe for you, Dabbundo. This seems like a sob story. Let's all start a GoFundMe for that Warriors Twitter guy who went at it with Simmons. My God, Bill Simmons never responds to replies, doesn't read them, and then went after the whole Steph Curry. I'm not even sure I understand what happened, Raheem.
I don't know what happened either. Like, I had people hitting me up asking me who the guy was. I don't know who he is. I just know that Bill Simmons laid the ether down on him more than Nas did Jay-Z. So that's why he is where he is in his career, apparently.
I was like, Bill, this is what you respond to? You should see what people are saying about you on Twitter. This is what he did. No, well, good job by him fending off the computer cowards. But, all right, let's go to the NBA. Now, I don't even know what the top story. I guess Austin Reeves out for the year now. I mean, that was quick, Raheem. The Lakers, we loved them. Like, oh, look at this. They're going to be
I never bought in.
Oh, minus
I knew it was coming. I
first
predicted
round.
this.
They lose two of the three best players, and just like that, they are 600-1. Are you buying? You buying 600-1?
No, I mean, Oklahoma City beat them so bad that their top two players got injured, and then one is going to Europe for a different type of procedure. So it's unfortunate because you guys know I am a part-time Lakers fan. But, I mean, their season is done.
Yeah, listen, it's fun to have the Lakers in, right? Even if you hate them, you got to have them in the mix in like 3 weeks. It would be fun, but now it does not look like
Luka
that
Doncic, he sleeps with the fishes, unfortunately.
Really?
I hate to say it, but it kind of takes all the juice out of the first round of the playoffs because, like, I'm looking at these series now.
Yeah.
Like, we have the clear top 4 in the East. Like, maybe we get a good Knicks-Sixers series. Maybe, like, the Hawks are feisty. And then on the West, like the 3-6 was like Lakers Wolves. Like I was kind of excited for that, but now it's Lakers Wolves. Like doesn't have the same juice if none of the Lakers guys are playing.
Raheem, what's the best first round matchup within reason? Would it be Denver, Minnesota? Like I'm not even sure how we get there.
So honestly, I mean, right now we're looking at Denver and Houston in 4 or 5. Houston started to play better. I actually think that's a better series. Like if you watch the Nuggets and Rockets games this year, all of them been close. And the Rockets have been taking sharp money in a lot of those. Now, obviously, they don't have Steven Adams, which hurts them on the offensive glass, but they're still dominant on the offensive glass. That's going to be a good series. Like,
that'd be fun.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to get that series. So that's the other point here. Like the Lakers lose a couple games here coming in. I know Sal doesn't want to hear about seeding realignments involving the Lakers.
No, I just don't want to bet on it right now. I'll take it game to game. You know,
the most likely scenario here is Nuggets past Lakers, Rockets potentially past Lakers, and now you're getting Lakers Rockets round 1.
But even that's a good series. Like
honestly, not with nobody playing though.
And then Denver, Minnesota.
I think Reeves is going to come back. Reeves is
so there's going to be one really good first round series. It sounds like.
Do you even fly to Europe?
You know, Denver, Minnesota, or Denver, Houston.
But even like Pistons, Hornets. Like that's a good series. I just like the NBA, so I can talk myself into anything.
No, that'll be fun. Anything.
He's going to be fired up for Pistons Magic. First team to 100 wins.
Before we get to the Magic. That's the one team. I'm just hoping the Magic don't make it because we have a future on the Magic missing the postseason plus 300.
It's right there.
I think that's right there for me.
Raheem owns the South divisions, be it football or basketball, NBA. He's got them. He's got them all figured out. I wish anyone could figure out this Rookie of the Year, these odds here, because Cooper Flagg scored 45 and 51 the game before, and now he is minus 210 to win Rookie of the Year after what did Khan have it for at least a month or 6 weeks as a favorite. So my thing is this is nonsensical that it switches this late in the season, Raheem. But let's be practical. What do we do with these numbers?
So if you look at if you go to dunksandthrees.com, you look at EPM.
Yeah,
Khan Knippel is destroying Cooper Flagg.
Tons of
EPM.
metrics.
Yeah, so all the advanced metrics like Khan Knippel. It's so crazy because Khan Knippel was actually 18. He was minus 1,800 before Friday.
Right.
And now it's completely flipped. So this is tough. I think my gut feels that maybe you buy more on Khan. He's been playing the more meaningful games. He's played 10 more games than Cooper Flagg. And his team's going to make the postseason. But this could be a situation that's very similar to what you saw with Russell Westbrook winning his MVP. If you go back to that game against the Denver Nuggets to where he hits the game-winning 3 in overtime, and a lot of guys change their votes. And then you have voters who will say, look, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Cooper Flagg is going to be a historically great player, so I'm going to vote for that, which I think is bad voting principle, but you just don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's human beings voting on this stuff, right? So we can look at metrics and everything, but are they going to interpret it the same way you and I just did? But all that said, this should be a coin toss decision, Dabbundo. So why don't we take the plus 150, as Raheem suggested?
I feel like we need to start doing some secret polls here or something. Like, let's get, I don't know if you saw Szokoli research. They sent their guy into the Strait of Hormuz to get the real inside information.
Oh,
maybe we should do that. We know.
I mean, we got a
people.
couple guys here at the Ringer who
let's
actually
start a
vote.
whisper campaign.
Yeah.
We can influence this vote.
But what is it? It's like 50 people, right? Overall?
Yeah, I think
50
like 4 of them
writers?
work at the Ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's not
And
enough.
we probably
Not enough
know,
of a sample
Sal, you're a
size.
pretty well-connected guy. We could send out some texts, maybe figure it out. Not saying
We
we're
have to
doing
get
any.
30?
We would never insider trade, of course.
It'd be great to go to jail over this. Yeah, be terrific. All right, let's get into some of these weekend games. Yeah, last night, Houston, Golden State. Steph's returned 29 and 5 threes, 29 points, 5 threes. Unfortunately, Jabari Smith also made 5 threes, and Durant added 31. It's fun to have the Steph Warriors back. It really is. The problem, Raheem, is they're going to have to dig out of that 10 spot in their plus 280 to make the playoffs, which I don't think is a good enough number for me to bite.
Yeah. It just feels like this Warriors team, they just have a lot of issues. I mean, you saw last night, they didn't have the size at all.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to beat Portland. Like, no 10 seed has actually made the postseason, like, at all. So you can't bet on that at all.
Yeah. Dabbundo, maybe the game of the week, game of the year, Denver, San Antonio, 136-134. Wemby, 34, 18 and 7. Back in the MVP discussion, but not really. If you look at the odds, it's all Shea. I might vote for him, even though I laid out clear parameters. Like that's what a lot of the voters are saying. Like, no. San Antonio has to jump OKC for Wemby to have a shot. And then Wemby has a big game, and everyone's like, whoa. Maybe I'll ditch my my narrative of all season. What do you think about that, Dabbundo?
Who should win MVP?
Yeah, I mean, just like it seemed like everyone said San Antonio has to pass OKC, and then it's still not going to happen. So should we still even look at these individual games at this point?
I will say, I read a piece on The Ringer this morning from Michael Pina. I believe he's a voter. And he said he's going to vote for Nikola Jokic to win MVP over Shea, over Wemby. I mean, it's been one of the most interesting MVP races to follow, for me, at least from afar, in a while. I think when you take a vote on who's been the best player in the second half, I think everybody would say Wemby. But a full season's worth, I feel like the metrics make it hard to pick anybody else besides Shea.
It's very difficult because, I mean, if you look at EPM, which I referenced earlier, Wemby is at 8.4. SGA is at 8.4. Jokic is at plus 7.6. But let me remind you, there's a guy in SGA who is closing all of these games. If you look at points in the clutch, averaging 6.5 points in the clutch. So this guy has been a closer. He's hitting that step back three. He's going to the line. He's going to the lane. So I would vote for SGA. I think he's the rightful MVP, and there's no way that you can bet on this award at this point in time.
Well, he hadn't missed like a fourth quarter or overtime shot since like March 15th or something. This was like last week we were talking about that SGA. Yeah, that is pretty damn clutch. You don't get better than that. Yeah, Jokic at 40, 8 and 13. The one thing I was looking at, Denver's plus 185, Raheem, to make the Western Conference Finals. As it is now, they would have to go through San Antonio to get there. Will we get a better price than that if they play San Antonio? I don't think so.
No, I think that's going to be as close to even money as possible. I mean, I can't pull up my model right now and do the math on it. But, I mean, Dabbundo mentioned it earlier. They could actually – well, yeah, if they pass the Lakers, they will be seeing the Spurs in the second round. I think the interesting thing about this is that you look at the Spurs, and as much as we want to be high on this team, it's tough to be super high on them because we know that experience is required. Like, you kind of got to take your lumps. And if you watch that game the other day, and I got to shout out Jokic for this because he hit a shot over Wemby where you say to yourself, if Wemby can't block that, there's nobody on the planet who can block it. But when it comes to the Spurs, you're saying to yourself, it's like, all right, they don't have the playoff experience, and they haven't taken their bumps and their bruises. And then you look at Wemby the other day, he plays 40 minutes, but you could tell towards the end of the game, he's been gassed. So they've been load managing him. And how is Wemby going to react to having to play 40 minutes in
when
a
they shorten the bench?
Series?
Yep.
Yeah. So
quick turnarounds too. Those second round is usually like every other day. Traditionally,
plus you throw an overtime in there, and that makes it even worse, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
funny
it's like
you said nobody can block that shot if Wemby can't. I also think nobody can make that shot except for Jokic over Wemby like that.
I mean, that's the
Crazy.
matchup we want to see. In a
That's what I'm hoping for. As a basketball fan, forget the NBA. Just as a fan of the sport, like it's gonna be amazing.
We don't need to see Thunder Jazz again. So that, I think, Raheem, was the biggest spread since 1995. It was 24 points. And the Thunder, that's whatever. We're good. 146, 111. They win by 35. Good Lord. I mean, what was it? Was it Friday where we talked about the 6 favorites that
A
were
16
13 plus.
parlay,
It
and
hit.
all of them won and covered.
I bet it
covered.
Sal, it was easy money.
You didn't bet the spreads though. You
No,
bet the
no,
money
no, I
line.
took the money lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raheem's talking about. So what is that? Almost 40 to 1, 35 to 1 if you go 6 for 6. I can't remember. I've not done it in so many years now.
So it was Hawks minus 16.5. I think it was Knicks minus 14.5 against the Bulls. It was the Rockets minus 12.5. It was the Raptors minus 12.5. And then I think it was the Celtics minus 17.5. And they won by like 29. So all of them covered. It wasn't even close. Like none of the games were remotely competitive.
I know.
It was one of those nights where you go on Twitter the next morning and all the NBA data nerds are like, this is the most blowouts we've seen in the history of the NBA since 3 days ago.
Right. I know.
And then everybody's like trashing the NBA. And then the next day, NCAA, it's all blowout. So I don't know what's like. It's just something about basketball now. There's just way more variance, and now you just get more blowouts. It's unfortunate.
And Wemby and Jokic
The tanking
was
is a big
classic.
reason why that's happening. 10 teams are trying to lose every night.
Yeah, that doesn't help. All right, let's look at these Monday games. There are some good ones. Knicks at Hawks. Hawks are a 1.5 point favorite. Raheem keeping a close eye on that Magic. The rest of their season, they're a 2.5 point dog at home to the Pistons. Sixers at Spurs, that's 8.5. Dabbundo. I don't know. I know you're rooting against your team because you got your dumb bet for the your favorite team under. And then Blazers at Nuggets. Nuggets are 8-point favorite. Now, Raheem, give us your best for Monday.
You want my best bets or you?
Well, whatever your Monday picks are there. Yeah.
I got so many. All right, so we got Hawks Knicks under 227.5. You look at this game, and the Knicks are 25th in pace, and I just think the Knicks should be able to kind of slow down this Knicks offense. The Knicks should be able to. The Hawks should be able to slow down this Knicks offense, but I also think the Knicks kind of have the size there. And I look at my model here, and full season numbers, I'm right on market, but post All-Star break numbers, I'm having this like closer to 220 more than anything. So I like the under in that game. Next, I'm going to go with the Cavs Grizzlies under. We talk about teams who are trying to lose right now. Well, the Grizzlies, look at their injury report. I mean, it's a hospital at this point in time. And, both teams are on a back-to-back. The Grizzlies are third game in 4 nights, so I think the pace of this game really slows down. Evan Mobley is back, so I like the under here. This is kind of like the human achievement bowl at this point in time. We're just betting completely against it. And then my last under is Blazers Nuggets under 238.5. Now, the Nuggets are coming off of obviously an overtime win over the Spurs. It's kind of, you got that letdown effect. And you look at the Nuggets, obviously they kind of struggled defensively. They've gone over in 5 out of their last 7. But the Blazers have actually been playing some great defense lately. They've gone under 4 straight times. They're first in defensive rating over the last 2 weeks. So I really, really, really like that under. A lot of unders tonight, but I guess if you guys want a prop, I think you kind of got to go with Paul George over 17.5 points. I mean, if you look at what he's done since he's come back, 26 points per game, 28, 26, 19, 39, 23, and 20. That total is like 236.5. Somebody's got to score. I think it's Paul George.
Nice. Let me jump on that Portland love there. I'm going to take them 8. It was 8.5. I already lost half a point over Denver. Like you said, they barely Denver got by in that war against the Spurs and Wemby on Saturday. Still could be hungover. They're also just 1-4 Denver against the spread in their last 5 home. Portland 8-2 in their last 10 overall. 5-1 in the last 6, all 5 by double digits, by the way. But I'm just taking points here. And Drew Holiday, who's led them in scoring 3 of the last 4, 23 or more over that span. Give me the Blazers to keep this close, catching 8. What are you doing here, Dabbundo? 6 teams? What is this?
5-team parlay plus 130. We are back and better than ever. These NBA favorite parlays have been pretty good down the stretch here. I mean, Tom Haberstraw's done some good work on this. Just how bad the upset winning percentage has been in the NBA this month. The last month and a half, it's like 11%. I'm going to go Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, Cavs, and Clippers. Moneyline parlay plus 129. Do I think this is plus EV? No. Do I think this is going to win? Yes.
There you go. All right.
You know what? Before we go, I think you could actually add Detroit to that parlay. It's actually, I'm watching the screen right now.
They're in Orlando, right? That's a little too close.
Yeah, but Orlando's playing a back-to-back. Detroit is rested. Orlando had the like claw back, absolutely claw back
Detroit
against
clinched? Like, what are they playing for here?
I mean, they're playing for pride. But if you watch the screen right now, this number just got steamed up from 2.5 to 3.5.
Really?
And if you look at Detroit, I mean, they're playing monster basketball right now without KU. They're 8-2 in their last 10, and they're 3rd in defensive rating. I think they're going to crush Orlando.
It's so funny. Everybody keeps trying to write off Detroit, including the market. They lose Cade. Everybody's like, that's it. They're done. And they've been playing better.
I'll tell you what they're
are
playing
they a regular
for,
season
Dabbundo.
team? Maybe, but
that Bickerstaff wants that coach of the year, and it's getting close now. In Missoula
They win
and
tonight. They
everything,
do clinch the 1 seed officially, but they're 4 games up with 4 to play. I mean,
there's always something.
Honestly,
Always
I'm no longer writing them off. I think this stretch without Kate has changed my perspective. I've seen that they can dominate with the defense, and I've also seen that I think a lot of times we have a major injury, it allows other guys to step up, and I think that's what we're seeing. So I think Detroit they're a team that I mean, I'm not going to place any futures, but they're a team that I have my eye on and I think can win a couple series.
There you go. All right, let's take a quick break. When we're back, we're going to talk about Jo Adell. Robbed 3 home runs. That's ridiculous. Never happen again. Ringer Gambling when we return. All right, we're back. Ringer Gambling Show. Major League Baseball. Let's hit it. Phillies did all right this week. They're on the weekend. They're over 500. They're 5-4. My Mets won 3 in a row. They're 6-4. God bless Mark Vientos and his 476 average. But the big and only real news, Jo Adell, Angels right fielder Dabbundo, robbed 3 home runs. Never been done before. 3 robs have never been done before, let alone by one player. This is spectacular.
I don't know what else to say anymore. As somebody who has been a Jo Adell truther for many years, we have ridden through some really dark times, 200 batting averages, comedy errors in the outfield, base running disasters, the label that he was a bust, all those things. And now, ever since he left my Dynasty Fantasy team when his contract expired in 2024, after owning him for 5 years of misery, he has become a great everyday player. And Saturday night turned in one of the finest performances in the history of defensive baseball. I leapt off my couch when I saw the 3rd home run and screamed so loud. I was home for the weekend that my stepdad asked me if I was okay. It was amazing. And to see Jo do that was a special, special night.
Yeah, Raheem, he's a bottom 10 fielder last year in terms of runs saved. Like, this is just remarkable. I mean, it's an unbreakable record because to break it, you would need 4 in a game. That's never even happened.
I saw a stat on ESPN that Tatis had like 4 robberies of all last year.
In all of last year? Yeah. Well, 3's never happened in a game by anybody, like, let alone like 3 players. But what I want to ask you, Raheem, real quick, FanDuel refunded the home run money, which I think is nice. But if you had Cal Riley, Josh Naylor, J.P. Crawford home runs, you got your bets refunded. I look, all 4 people getting money back, but this is why we're soft as a country, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the participation award of betting. I hate it. I want y'all to lose y'all money. Like, like at some point in time, it's like, yo, you gamble. Right. Like, this is what it is.
The bad beats are part of the experience.
Of course.
So when you just refund it, it's like, oh, well, that's kind of late. Like, I
do think there is a sort of like psychology. Like, if you get robbed like that, you're like, oh, I'm never betting again. Like, there are certain bets that do put you in the thing.
Look,
but you shouldn't.
If I didn't get I had a future on the Saints to win the Super Bowl when there was a clear pass interference. If I didn't get my money back for that, nobody should get their money back from anything.
I had the same thing. Saints to win the Super Bowl. Exactly.
You guys did not have Primo Roglic in the 2020 Tour de France. The biggest single-day collapse in the history of tour history.
Listen, we're going to make you money the old-fashioned way. We're going to give you winners. On the other side of the break, we're going to do that in 2 minutes. Plays of the day when we return. Ringer Gambling Show. All right, best bets. Let's do it, Raheem. What do you like in the NBA?
Blazers Nuggets under 238.5.
There you go. Dabbundo, you're going to the diamond. Who do you like?
Yeah, I've been struggling with strikeout prop under. So let's take another one. Michael Wacha under 4.5. He had a big outing in his first start of the year. Stuff says he's the same pitcher. I'll go under 4.5 strikeouts.
The Wolverines will win the championship by 11 plus 160. Mara Lindeborg, Morez, Cadeau light up the scoreboard. 81-68. Ringer Gambling Show. We'll be back Wednesday. You must be 21 or older and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE/NY or text Hope New York in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.